All right. So I am here with Ben, aka WaltDadneyWorld today, and we are doing a special episode of Dads of Adventure. Um, and welcome to Dads of Adventure and the Fathers Day Extravaganza, the sequel, part two. I'm calling it a lot of different things, so there might be different things depending on when you listen to this. And you can find Dads of Adventure at Dads of Adventure on Facebook, Twitter, um, Instagram, which is the main place we're at, and then now on Clubhouse as well. You can find if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, you can find that on the Dreams Magic Adventure channel in video format. Or if you're watching this video, you can find it in podcast format on your favorite podcast app. You can also check out Dad's of Adventure to check out more information, sign up for newsletters, and just learn a little bit more about what Dad's Adventure is. But in a nutshell, it is helping Disney dads to have positive experiences in life and adventures with their families, including Disney. So without further ado, I introduce Ben here, and he can tell you a little bit about how he became WaltDadneyWorld and where you can find him out there
Yeah.
in the social media webs.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah. So I didn't really grow up on Disney, believe it or not. So I kind of got into it when my wife insisted we go to Disney World on our honeymoon. So that's how I sort of originally became a Disney dad, I guess you might say.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just spiraled out of control to, first we bought, we'd do a vacation, and we'd do a couple vacations a year. Then we eventually bought DVC. And it just got to the point where we just kind of had to be here. So we ended up moving to Orlando in September 2019. So that's kind of where all of this started. And then, the whole WaltDadneyWorld thing, that was sort of just started as a just for fun thing, and it still really is. So I don't really have any real plans for it. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know, if I ever plan on doing anything more with, just having fun and enjoying the discussion. But we picked up our family of 6, moved from the St. Louis area to Orlando, and we've been enjoying it ever since.
Nice. Yeah, and I think one of the things I'll mention is if you're looking for like some real time, fairly daily looks at the parks and some of the resorts and things like that, that's what I enjoy seeing. Like, I get to go to the parks fairly often, but even when I'm not there, it's nice to see like some of the different things. And we are very much about like, being at the resorts and things like that too. And, taking advantage of all the kind of little things that get missed when you go on a trip where you're trying to, maximize your time in the parks and whatnot.
And so that's like I said, I don't really have a long-term plan for my page, and I don't really even have a short-term plan. Sometimes I'll just do spur of the moment things, sort of the deep into Disney tips and tricks, more than just what hotel do you want to stay at type thing. It's just sort of the details, like you said,
Yeah, so you see something and you're like, this would be cool for somebody to know about. I appreciate, I think I know based on watching some of your Instagram stories when the schedule is for the boardwalk movies on the lawn now. So, and for some reason, anytime I pass the boardwalk, I expect and see a movie there, I expect to find you. And we've literally been like 15 minutes apart from each other, I think, several times where I'm like, okay, I see this on your story. You're like, like we were heading out of Epcot and you were heading into Epcot, and it's happened multiple times now. So eventually we're going to meet in person, but
absolutely,
just hasn't happened quite yet.
Yeah.
So, but that's always fun to watch, and it's also an inspiration too to do kind of spur of the moment trips. I know, like
Hmm.
we, um, one of the things sometimes that, like, we may have something that we need to get done on the weekend,
Yep.
and I make that motivation um, to get it done so that we can then go to like a park or
Yeah.
a resort, and like we'll go to Wilderness Lodge, just go to Wilderness Lodge and like climb up the staircases and do all those things. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's absolutely what we, we'll get stuff done during the week so we can, spend all weekend at the parks, or
Yeah.
we have something that we can only do on the weekend. We'll get up and we'll get out of the house and get it done so we can go to the parks in the evening.
Hmm.
That's another thing, is we're definitely evening park goers. You will rarely find us at rope drop, if ever.
Yeah.
um, so
I hear you. I went with my son earlier, um, and I think I already mentioned this in another one. So, but it's a repeat. But it's worth
mhm.
repeating because it's pretty cool. Um, I I assume this is new, but it might just be because we don't make it to the parks early enough for breakfast.
Mhm.
Because I'm always like, I never can find anything for breakfast at Magic Kingdom, but it might be because we get there like 10:30 or 11, and
Mhm.
I'm still, I didn't eat breakfast before we left, but then I am searching for it there. But he found, um, walked up to the Friars Nook, and they had like sausage and gravy tots.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's something that might be worth getting up earlier for. But yeah, we're definitely, afternoon um, to evening park people as well. What do you think are some of the like the advantages that you've seen of that,
Yeah.
going
So I
some of those
mean,
time frames?
a lot of the tips and tricks you'll hear is to get to the park early, do rope drop, and go to whatever e-ticket ride you want to go to first thing. Um, and it's tough, living here versus taking a vacation.
Hmm.
A lot of people tend to take vacations in busy times at the parks, but I mean, one thing we benefit from late at night is, end of the night, you can pretty much hop on any ride with, for instance, tonight, especially when the rain clears people out. Um, I think the longest wait time was like 25 minutes at Magic
Okay.
Kingdom. Um, so that's kind of one thing we like about it. And especially even after close, if you kind of hang around a little bit, you can really get some great pictures without any crowds.
Hmm.
Um, Imagineering really focuses on their nighttime lighting, as you know.
Yeah.
So there's some really spectacular views late at night at the parks that a lot of people might miss if they, leave after dinner or something. Um,
Yeah. I know. Like right now, it's weird to leave Magic Kingdom like in some of the shorter park hours. It's weird
mhm.
to leave Magic Kingdom like when it's light.
Yeah,
Um, and um, yeah, that was definitely the case. Like early on when they reopened, it was like 7 o'clock, and we were
oh
like,
yeah, that
it's so
was
strange to leave
didn't feel
Magic
right.
Kingdom at
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I definitely agree on the lighting. Like Spaceship Earth is
Hmm.
definitely one of those, like pictures from all different angles. It's hard to not have them look good or have like reflections on the water or whatever
Yep.
as you're going through whatever direction you're reapproaching the exit. Um, and like Magic Kingdom, um, the one example I would always give is like um, the Christmas parades, which is kind of different
Oh
right now.
yeah. Yeah.
It may be different, but by the time somebody hears this, but um, with the cavalcades, they were running some of those during the day,
Hmm.
and like Christmas, previous years, Christmas party days, whatever lighting they have is like the perfect lighting. Because I
Yes.
remember being there, but it
Yeah.
was like the picture that made me decide the next year I want to go back to the Christmas
Hmm.
party, even though it costs however much
Yeah.
money, because it was like that. Yeah, that was helped ingrain that picture was just so emotion
Yeah.
giving.
Stuck in your mind for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, and at the same time, sometimes we'll get to the park a little earlier than usual, and
Mhm.
we'll see things we don't see too often. This weekend we got to Hollywood Studios and we saw Max and Mira, uh, hanging out to to wave with the
Oh,
kids and
cool.
everything. So it's stuff like that. I can't tell you the last time we saw the trolley at Magic Kingdom, just because we
Hmm.
don't get there early enough.
Yeah.
Um, and it seems like they sort of cater to the morning crowd. Um,
Hmm.
there used to be the Main Street Electrical Parade, that the nighttime parade in Magic Kingdom, which is unfortunately gone. It's one of my favorite ones, but
Hmm.
it does seem like they tend to cater to the early morning crowd, um, more so than the later crowd. But it really just comes down to preference, and there's something to be said for uh, going all day and you know open to close. So
Yeah.
if you're able to do that too, that's a lot of fun. Can't do it too many days in a row, but uh, it's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think one of the challenges I come up against is being there later is food, because things will start
Yeah,
closing down, and you've got to really know,
yeah,
um, that Sleepy Hollow is like the last,
hmm
last restaurant standing or whatever. Or, um,
right.
what time if you really want Starbucks, what time do you need to get in the line? Um,
Yeah, especially at Animal Kingdom.
Rogers.
I've looked at some of the menus of some of the across from, what is it, Tusker House there, and all of it looks delicious, but I don't want to eat chicken tikka masala at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough. Um, and like you said, the tots in the morning, you miss out on that kind of stuff when you consistently go at the same time every time.
Hmm.
So it's a give and take.
Yeah. I think. So, what is your favorite park to be in at night? Would you say?
So you've probably noticed we're at Epcot a lot,
Hmm.
and the reason we go to Epcot is because we like to take a lot of breaks at the park.
Hmm.
And Magic Kingdom, you got Contemporary to walk. Grand Floridian, there's a bit of a walk, but you can walk that now. But Epcot's just so easy to take a break, go to Yacht Club, go to Beach Club, go to Boardwalk, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and for that reason alone, I typically favor Epcot. It's also open the latest right now.
Hmm.
Um, Most of the food is available until close with the festival. Almost perpetual. Epcot's in perpetual festival mode at this point. I think
Hmm.
we got a week's break here in the middle of July between Flower and Garden and Food and Wine, but
Right.
um, a big portion of the Disney experience is eating. So Epcot's the place to do it for sure. And
Yeah.
and for that reason, I'm gonna go Epcot.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, switching over to kind of the food side of things, I know you had posted about, um, in the, um, World Showplace,
Hmm.
where they're having, some of the festival food for Flower and Garden. Um, is it the, Off the Beaten Path?
Yeah,
I think you said was one of your. I tried that after you posted that, and it was like, I mean, I like beets too, and
yeah,
that was really unique and interesting,
it was. Yeah,
um,
and that's kind of what I look for too. Is sort of the interesting and unique foods. And I was telling my wife we're really excited for Food and Wine coming up here because the spicy Kenyan street corn's coming back, and
nice.
yeah, a lot of people think violet lemonade, or the new one is the avocado toast, but there's never a line for the Africa booth, and you got the street corn there, and it's like one of our favorite dishes from the festival. And
Okay.
it's just one of those things that people just pass up, and it doesn't get much attention. Um, but yeah, that Off the Beaten Path was, I can't imagine that was a popular one,
Yeah.
but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, it was on that rotating menu of,
Hmm.
um, as the seasons change,
Yeah.
the food changed. It just switched over to like the summer menu. So we tried all the items from the
Yeah, I
summer
don't know
menu.
if
And
I don't even if I've even paid attention to that.
yeah.
I mean, we haven't gone in there too often since the beginning of the festival, really.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, there's like a lemon ricotta type cheesecake. Um, there's a it's not a caprese. What is the other tomato and mozzarella type salad?
I
I
would have
love
said,
it. I have it all the time, but I'll think of it like when we get to the end
yeah.
here. I'll fill in. And then there was like a beef tenderloin type thing. That one was very small, but the dessert was quite good and had a pretty good portion to it as well.
Yeah, that's another thing I look for in my
Yeah,
festival food is the portion size, right? I
yeah,
think we got like this $9 lamb shank or something, and it was, there was nothing to it. Um, but yeah, it's interesting how they price them and the portions they give, and you know just gotta learn what to get and what to avoid.
yeah. And it can change too, because we
Mm,
got some of the mac and cheese
yeah.
bowls that were in the World Showplace one week, and then we came back a couple weeks and we're like, yeah, that was a great portion, and then it was like a smaller. They had a
Yeah.
different container. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this isn't
Right.
quite as good of a deal anymore. Um, but I think one of my all-time favorites that I've seen, and who knows if it'll come back. I hope it does.
Hmm.
Um, the was the um, they had a waffle. Um, did we talk about this? I'm trying to remember. They had a
I'm trying to think of, it was at Food and Wine.
yeah, it was like a waffle. It had like gravy and
I don't know. Sounds good.
it was a oh my goodness, it was like a stuffing. It was a stuffing waffle. That's what it was. It was a waffle made of stuffing. I was trying to
Oh
think if
yes, yes. We did have that.
okay.
I don't think that's the was that in the America Pavilion possibly.
It is over. So there's like a station. It normally is not. It's normally one of the least popular ones. It's like as you're
Mm,
coming from like the land side of things,
right, right.
and you
Yes.
turn right to head towards like the Hawaii
Hmm.
um, one. It's like off to the right,
Yep.
and normally it's like the last one to open for all the festivals.
Yeah.
But for Christmas, it was like Waffles was the name of
That's
um,
right. The waffle
the
booth.
place,
Yes.
and um,
Yeah, it's because I know there's one in the American Pavilion my wife really likes that's like just all the delicious Thanksgiving food all thrown into a bucket,
no, there you go.
and it's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I forgot about the stuffing waffle. Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
tried to make it. It wasn't quite the same. We couldn't get the. I don't know how they got the like the flavor and the crispness and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just couldn't um, quite replicate it. I was really sad to see the main person who coordinates like the efforts of all the food teams,
Hmm.
Chef Daniel. So if anybody watches Be Our Chef, he's one of the judges on there. But he
Oh,
was
nice.
like the coordinator of all the food festivals, and he just recently left that team.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I'm hoping to see, hopefully you'll be new and inspired. But I really liked his touch on
Yeah.
everything. But, and I'll say one more thing about. We'll move on from festivals, but um, we love that they open up um, the World Showplace. So my sons love, and speaking to the late night side of things, my
Hmm.
sons love to like run around in there. Normally they'll have like piano music or
Yep.
something going on. Not as much so for this festival,
Yeah.
um, but they just like to dance and like run around, and that's a great place for them to do that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like that's something that's like a specialty of yours is finding like those little spots
Yeah.
um, where you can. where kids can run around. I think you were talking about like the mazes and
Yeah,
um,
the UK maze and the
yeah.
boardwalk sort of hub grass, I guess you might call it,
Okay.
is a great place for running energy off.
Gotcha.
That's usually where we'll stop for hours on end.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know I've seen posts for you when you've been at different like movie spots and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, it looks like like the boardwalk is your favorite. Do you have any suggestions for folks that are like have you seen like certain types of movies or better situations for kids at different places that you've
Yeah.
been at?
So I don't know if there's a trend in sort of movie, if they stick to, live action or animation based on the resort or
Hmm.
anything. Um, we were at Animal Kingdom Lodge last night, and they had an interesting setup because all that's so narrow over there.
Hmm.
Just to walk around the pool, you kind of had to walk in front of the screen.
Hmm.
So that was an interesting setup. But I mean, Boardwalk's really the best one because they have the one at Pop Century, but you're sitting in real grass
Hmm.
in Florida, which is at night can get itchy.
Yeah.
Um, it's not too big of a space either, similar to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Yeah, Boardwalk. I mean, Boardwalk's really the best place to do it because they have a big open, AstroTurf field.
Hmm.
They throw the movie up in the corner, and you got the whole field to watch. Um, but I think they do post the movie schedules every week.
Okay.
So, if you happen to visit, if you happen to resort hop or if, at your own resort, you can always stop by and see what's playing for every night and kind of plan around that. Um, but we've seen everything from, you know, Moana, the classic princess movies, Moana. We've seen Enchanted before, so they do some live action.
Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of just a toss up what you're going to get, but it's always a lot
Gotcha.
of fun. Grab some food or whatever and hang out on the lawn for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. We have gone a little bit, not like, I don't think we stayed for the whole movie, but like Caribbean Beach
Hmm.
has theirs down in like a little island type nook. So
Yeah.
we've liked that one. And then um, Wilderness Lodge is like on the dock next to Geyser Point. So that was, I like that one. Um, I'm not sure if it's the best, but you got like the lake in the background.
Oh yeah.
There's not like a lot of space there um, because that's where people are walking to.
Yep.
It's like the
Right.
most
Yeah.
out of the way place, but not really.
Right.
Um, but um, that Wilderness Lodge trip that we took, we just kind of wandered
Hmm.
around, and they were playing Up, which is like all of our favorite
Yeah.
movies. Um, so we stopped by to that. So I think that one holds a good place in my mind because of that
Yeah. And
particular
we
feature.
honestly don't do a whole lot of wilderness lodge exploring for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever been there, when a movie was playing. So
Okay.
yeah, it'd be, and we really ought to. It's a beautiful resort. It
Yeah.
really is. Um, but yeah, there's quite a few we haven't. We just don't go. We'll go in the middle of the day, but we just don't show up at night.
Hmm.
But yeah, and Boardwalk too is it's especially if you're at Epcot. Um, it's just easy to get to, so it's the easiest one and most accessible that we've found
Yeah.
for that.
Okay. Yeah. And one of the things that I think I've found interesting is just um, I admire your ability to be able to like be in real time on some of your
Yeah.
I'm like I try that, but I am not very good at it. Like I'll get partway through a post and then it'll be time to go on a ride or something like that, and then
Yeah.
it will even if I try to like save it or something like that, then I'll be like redoing the same post over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, it's yeah, I just lost an entire post the other day. I
Yeah,
tried to post and I'd saved it and come back to it and whatever, and Instagram just ate it. So
gotcha.
it happens. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Work around
it,
the Instagram bugs, I guess.
yeah. I liked your perspective on um, like the waiting in line with coffee on Main Street um,
Oh yeah,
time lapse there.
yeah,
That was one of the ones that was like, yeah, that is definitely a thing, especially right now, like you said, when there's not a night parade.
yeah.
Um, that's the
Yeah,
closest
just
thing.
just
Yeah,
grab a coffee and sit on the curb for a while and
yeah,
just take it all in for sure.
and you can definitely tell that people want a night parade because people will be sitting along the curb as if there was going to be a parade coming. That's not actually
Yeah, right,
happening, because normally
right.
the cavalcades, I think, are over by a certain
Yeah,
time of day. Um, so it's very interesting that um, that function of just like um, and habit of just sitting along the
yeah,
curb is with some people, and I see it
hmm,
sometimes during the middle of the day too. Even
yeah.
if there's not like
Just
um,
inherent congregation of
yeah,
people along
it's
Main
like
Street.
I'm going
Yeah,
to claim this spot. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm going to be
right.
here.
I
Um,
mean, I've heard tons of people, within groups just in passing asking about, when do the fireworks start or they're still doing fireworks, right? Type thing.
mhm.
Um, so it could be, in addition to just learned, sit by the curb at night because there might be something happening. It could
Yeah,
just be a matter of they're just not sure, what night time at Disney looks like anymore.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah,
because there's so much that's changed since probably a lot of the people have been there, so
yeah,
um, it's crazy.
yeah. It's I am. Yeah, I know that there's lots of rumors out there on when like fireworks will return and things like
Hmm.
that. And I'm curious, where they'll come back first. I mean, I think they seem to be working furiously on the harmonious
Yeah.
fireworks
Yep.
at Epcot. Being late night, you definitely see testing and things like that
Hmm.
going on, and so I'm curious if they'll end up launching those first, or if it will be like a return. It'd be really neat to see. They've got a short time to do it, but um, see some fireworks for the 4th. So
Yeah. Yeah. That would, and I'm sure, you know, as evidenced by the annual pass reservation calendar, that a lot of people think that you'll see Magic Kingdom and Epcot already sold out for the 4th for annual pass holders, which is a little unusual. It's, it's the weekend, but
yeah,
usually, it's either Hollywood's the first to go um, for any given weekend, but not so on the 4th. I think people are doing some hoping for fireworks on the 4th of July.
yeah. I got in a little bit late, and I couldn't get the 4th,
Hmm.
but I have the 3rd reserved.
Yeah.
Um, so the little known fact that normally Magic Kingdom, which I don't know if it would be the case this year,
Hmm.
but normally, and I don't know if that will be normal going forward.
Yeah.
Um, they'll have the full show on the 3rd also,
Oh, really?
to kind of disperse the crowd. So um, when we used to live about 6 or 7 hours away,
Hmm.
and we'd come through, and there's family like 2 hours from Disney, but we could come um, through the Disney area. So like we were visiting them for the 4th, so we'd stop on
Hmm.
the 3rd, see the fireworks, and then head over to where we're going for the 4th.
It's
So
pretty good. Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I
the
didn't
one,
know that. That's
yeah,
good to know though, because
yeah,
we could give the 3rd a shot too, because I don't think anybody knows when it's going to happen,
yeah,
externally. So
yeah,
it's always worth a shot.
yeah. Um, I mean, I think I mentioned someone in the last recording that, or next recording, depending on when the episodes come out. But
Yeah. Right.
um, but I'll be very happy if they have the Stars and Stripes projections on the castle
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
they've had in the past. Those are those are pretty awesome. And they're
Yeah.
like classic projections versus, the animated projections, which,
Right.
kind of, I like when they go back to things that
Yeah.
are a little bit
Well,
simpler sometimes. So,
yep. Yep.
but yeah, it's very interesting. I think that they haven't like said anything about those things yet because, it definitely, like with Christmas, they had projections on the
Hmm.
castle, and then they had like some basic, fireworks as they
Yeah.
changed
Right.
things. So there's capabilities for it. It's just a matter of what what they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, how some of the news sites will sort of get an idea of this information. I know there's been, job postings for fireworks engineers and technicians and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's clearly coming, and they kind of do the same thing with the parties too. If they're casting, roles for stage shows and things and stuff like that, and none of that was happening. So I think people decided pretty early on that, not so scary wasn't happening.
Mhm.
So just just the intensity at which people will go to get any kind of information on when things are going to open back up is pretty astounding.
Yeah, patent filing, things like that.
Yes, patent filings, those too. Yeah.
A patent was filed to
What
put
was the one
lights on.
I just recently saw the patent for the Kylo Ren lightsaber on Rise of the Resistance
Hmm.
when he does the lightsaber through the floor. Um, that was a pretty interesting one, and surprisingly simpler than it looks, which I
Hmm.
guess is the goal.
Yeah,
But it's just stuff they they find and uncover and share is crazy.
yeah. I have to hand it to them though. The digging and like the patience that you have
Hmm.
to find that information. And I appreciate hearing, yeah, hearing about those things and
Hmm.
knowing a little bit ahead of time what. I don't know everything about it. I always want, anytime there's a new experience, I want to see it with my own eyes,
Yeah,
which was really
right.
hard to do for some of the most recent
Yeah,
openings.
yeah.
It's like I know a little bit about what the Ratatouille ride is like
Hmm.
already, but I'm trying not to see as few posts and things like that
Yep.
about it from like the France Disneyland Paris version, and
Hmm.
um, even like diverting my eyes when you're in the Epcot experience to not
Yeah,
see.
yeah. They seem pretty, and they're pushing the teasers for that pretty hard.
Yeah.
Um, and I think about something like Cosmic Rewind. I know so little about
Hmm.
because they're just not talking about it. I guess maybe it's not as far along in development, but yeah, they've really been pushing the sort of the teasers for Ratatouille
Hmm.
through many different avenues.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah. Um, and I think one of the things that I like, just overall at the parks is just
Hmm.
finding little things that are kind of lesser known. So I was just curious if there's things that you have found, um, just having the chance to kind of more leisurely go through the park and things like that, um, that you feel like you wouldn't have found otherwise, or just things that like you feel are like different things that people may not look at normally as an attraction or um, something to do, that you and your family have
Yeah,
enjoyed.
I mean it's interesting you say that because for the longest time when we were coming here, I think it took me a couple trips to realize that there was something inside the Mexico pyramid,
Okay.
which isn't really a secret, but to me it was, I guess, at the time. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's there's the whole free water at the quick service. But I mean, the one thing I'm big on is those water refill stations, right? So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know they exist, or especially the ones in Epcot. That one in the Epcot experience, it looks like a regular water fountain, but you look closer and there's a button on top with a little water dispenser.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other night, we hopped off the Skyliner at Hollywood Studios to go to our car.
Mm-hmm.
But we circled the building because we knew there was a little water refill station there on the other side of the building by the bathrooms.
Yeah.
So, if people knew those were there, I think they'd be utilized a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate Magic Kingdom doesn't have any.
Yeah. Do you think that hair looks okay? I need to move it over this way. How about that way? Oh, wait, we're live? I need to talk now? Oh, hello. And this is the Dads of Adventure. And we just wanted to make one quick correction to something that we said about water bottle filling stations. We have late breaking news that one of the comments that we made is incorrect. And we want to make sure that we get that right. So we are making that right now. Sunny Eclipse was not available for comment, but we have learned from reliable sources that there is a water bottle filling station indeed in the Starline Diner. And if I get that name wrong, my apologies. I am looking at something else here, and that is what we wanted to say. But we will not let that go uncorrected because we want to make sure there are sources and the ability to find fresh water and refreshing water anywhere that you may be in the parks. So thank you for joining us for this quick update to correct that comment. And we now return you to your regularly scheduled interview with Dads of Adventure and Walt Dadney World.
So, but it's little things like that. I kind of look for things that help make the park day go a little bit smoother.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait in line for 10 tiny cups of water to fill 5 water bottles type thing. Little things like that to save the hassle of taking time out of your day to stand in a long line and just to get water. That's kind of my focus of what I try to give people, but at the same time, like I just don't know enough history about the parks to sort of appreciate everything. Sometimes and I've kind of read the tips and tricks and everything. The signs in the window on Main Street are sort of the shell companies that Walt used to buy the land in Florida type thing. But other than that, that's kind of my interest is how to make the park day go a little bit smoother.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that's key in preparing for that. My example I give is like the point from which you start taking some sort of form of transportation, whether that's your own vehicle or bus or monorail or Skyliner or whatever. From whatever that point is to the point where you make it into the park, I feel like is the points at which you can set the tone for your day.
Yep.
So yeah,
and it's interesting you mentioned transportation too, because that's another thing that we kind of stray from the norm. A lot of people, even tonight, I took the kids to Magic Kingdom and I wanted to walk from Magic Kingdom back to Transportation and Ticket Center. I couldn't because the walkway between Grand Floridian and Polynesian was closed. But we've had cast members almost deter us from taking that walkway. We've heard people say that the cast member told them it was too long or something, or you don't want to walk that. It's just not worth the time. Um, so yeah, it's kind of interesting, if you can really get the transportation, how it works and where they go and where to board them and when to board them. Um, you can have a better experience that way too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated your map that you put out there a
Yeah.
couple days ago for
Mhm.
um, how to best get to, because um, I knew where like the path was to the Grand Floridian once it
Mhm.
opened, but it is hard to find, and you're like, I'm still I still have to think about it.
Yeah, and
Where to
especially
go,
like when
and
you get to Polynesian, like it gets
yeah,
really confusing, how to get to transportation and ticket center from there without wandering around in the dark,
right,
you know, finding it.
yeah, that yeah, I think few people know about that. It'll be a little bit smoother once um, Polynesian opens up fully, and they get
Hmm.
the monorail station back online.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but for walking, I mean, I think you're right. It's like there's we love the and I'm going to forget. I always forget these things when as soon as I want to bring them up. Um, but the parade that's over in the seven
Oh,
seas.
the yeah, the electric water pageant.
Yes. Mhm.
Yep.
Um, and so we can never like. I've looked up times and I've tried to like be in the right spot to
Hmm.
like actually just like watch the show. It never works out, but I always like if I'm on a monorail or
Yeah.
like you said, walking around that path, you have a little bit more chance of
Hmm.
catching that um, as it's going around. Because one, like you said, it's a little bit longer, so you have a little bit of time when you're
Yeah.
on the path, and
Yeah, that's one of those things that I'm sure it has a scheduled time, but
yeah,
I've never paid attention to it, and I have no idea when it actually starts
yeah,
and is supposed to end.
yeah. All the way like Wilderness Lodge, I think is one of the hardest times to catch. Like um, I've been there multiple times and
Hmm.
heard like the music, um, and then by the time I get over to where you can see it, then it's not there. But then there's other
Yeah.
times where I had, didn't have plans on seeing it, and then it was there
Yep.
and saw the whole show,
Hmm.
with a great view. So it just depends on where it is. Same with me on like transportation. Like if I try to get to transportation, I'm gonna be like getting there as the boat leaves. That's not
Yep.
gonna come back for 20 minutes and um, or a bus or whatever. But if I'm
Hmm.
not trying to do it, then maybe it'll work out.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so I think it can't hurt to take the longer way around. And what I liked about the suggestions that you made, you pointed out like here's some food areas where you can stop along the way. So
Hmm.
to get like your
Yeah.
final snack as you head out, or
Yep.
kind of have a checkpoint to rest in some air conditioned
Yeah, for sure.
area. Um, that bathroom that you mentioned that's behind the Skyliner at Hollywood Studios.
Hmm.
Um, if anybody is just like hot from the day, that bathroom has like the coldest air conditioning I think I've ever. Um,
Yeah.
you can just stay in there for a little bit. You still got to come out at some point to. They won't let you stay in the bathrooms
Yeah.
the whole night, um, but that's always a nice, refreshing thing. I love everything about that whole area, like Hollywood
Hmm.
Studios, and I'm glad that they, instead of like retheming all of that area, that they blended everything, that they
Right.
put in like the new bus stations and everything
Hmm.
into the old, so that could be at least
Yeah,
as many changes are happening right now at Hollywood Studios that there's
that's
still
true.
that. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, they kept the entrance mostly the
yeah,
same, which is nice. They've kind of, I guess, strayed from the original vision of it, but it's nice to still have the big opening and everything,
hmm
theming, like you said.
yeah. Um, so, well, I know we're getting close to some time here, so I'll go into a couple final questions here.
Sure.
Um, for your, and it wasn't the one I told you about earlier, so I'll put you on the spot.
Sure.
But I just thought of this one. What are some of the favorite snacks of like you and your family also that you like throughout the parks?
Yeah. So one of my favorites, pretty much anything is Sleepy Hollow at Magic Kingdom, but I really like the fruit Nutella waffle and the spicy chicken waffle. Um, I already mentioned, festival food. I like that pineapple chutney hot dog, spicy hot dog.
Okay,
I
I
know
like
it's
that
not a
too.
big, I know it's not a big one you hear about too much, but then the obvious ones like violet lemonade and I mentioned the street corn
Hmm.
earlier. We really like the Norway bakery,
Yes.
school bread, uh, leifsa, all those delicious Norwegian desserts.
Hmm.
Um, I had the Wookie cookie a couple days ago. That was pretty good at Hollywood
Okay.
Studios,
Hmm.
Backlot Express. That was the first time I've had that, and it was pretty good. Um, we'll do popcorn every once in a while. My daughter really likes just the classic Mickey pretzels.
Okay.
Um, Goofy's Candy Co. is a big one. Um, so the kids keep it pretty basic.
Gotcha.
So um, and if Plaza Ice Cream ever opens up in Magic Kingdom, you have an apple blossom sundae, which is really good.
Okay.
That was sort of our go-to to get an apple blossom sundae and watch the fireworks. It was really good. So hopefully we get Casey's and Plaza Ice Cream back soon.
Mhm. I have not had that, so I am adding that to my mental
It's
list
good.
of
It's a
things
good
to
one.
try now.
Yeah.
Um, Also the yeah, I've heard many people talk about like the Rice Krispie treats that you can get like dipped in chocolate while you're there
Hmm.
at the
Yeah.
candy company. Um, so I don't know if that's going on right now, but I'll
Yeah. I'm
check
not
out
sure. We usually don't get
the
the
waffles.
custom stuff.
Yeah,
We probably should. Sounds terrific, but
yeah.
yeah.
I hear you can get two different chocolates, so don't
Oh,
settle for just one. Yeah, um,
right.
but yeah, I mean, I think for me, yeah, school bread, anything from that bakery.
Yep.
Um,
Can't go wrong, really.
yeah, I mean, when they reopened, when I saw it was reopening, um, it's like I'm going in there, um, and they had sold out of everything that they
Hmm.
made.
And it seemed like they only had like two or three items to begin with when they
Yeah,
first opened, right? So,
yeah, they were selling the school bread only out of the cart that was out
right.
for like a week or two
Hmm.
to bring it back, but then they opened the bakery, and then it was
Yeah.
that wasn't happening anymore. That'd be kind of neat to just be able to pick up a school bread on the run.
Yeah.
Um, but it's an experience to go in the bakery with all the um, theming too. So
Hmm.
you can't. That doesn't hurt. Um, I remember when they first opened, they just had like when we got there, they had like these pretzels with like almonds and so it's kind of like the left sub, but with in pretzel format. It's like
Hmm.
I don't really care what it is. I want.
Right. Yeah.
I'll take
Whatever shape you
anything.
put it in, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. um, but all right. And do y'all have any favorite must ride attractions?
Um, so we really like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Hmm.
It's newer, but it's also, one of the few sort of big new attractions that everybody can ride.
Hmm.
Um, so we do that most of the time. It's especially when it's like a sub half hour wait. Um, Other than that, we just kind of float. We'll always stop into Toy Story Mania if the line isn't too long.
Hmm.
Anything in Fantasyland, usually Haunted Mansion's on the list at Magic Kingdom, just because the line's usually pretty short and it's hot out and everything. Um, Kids really like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, the older kids.
Hmm.
But Yeah,
Yeah, we just went on
we
that.
haven't done Rise of the Resistance honestly all that much.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. It's sort of, it's one of those things where we don't know when we're going to have to get to Hollywood studios. And if we have to get there by 10 a.m., it's probably not going to happen type
Right.
thing. So, and no real reason. I mean, the three older kids actually really like Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run too, as of
Okay.
late. So we finally got our 5-year-old on that one, and he loves it. So
Nice.
we've been doing that a lot lately too.
And you all have enough to fill the entire ship, right?
We will eventually.
Okay.
Once our youngest is tall enough for that one, we can
Okay.
fill the entire ship.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, we're all family," and then yeah, once social distancing is off, then you got
Yep.
that one extra
We'll
person.
have our
So
own cabin. Yeah.
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 A high single rider, or high to the single rider. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. um, I was that one time, and there was a whole family of 5, and I rode the single rider before all the shutdown and everything,
Mhm.
and they let me be the pilot and do the whole. Yeah, so that was very generous of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. That is
but
generous.
yeah, um, but yeah, we just went on Big Thunder recently.
Mhm.
That's one that like we have to not convince because our kids like it
Mhm.
until they get over that, and then they change their mind. They'll change their mind on
Yeah.
that. Like think that Pirates, Space Mountain, and Haunted Mansion. It's like
Yeah.
they love them all, but depending on the day, might
Right.
want to actually ride it or not. But I will be hearing the phrase "It's the wildest ride in the wilderness" for a while now.
Yeah.
After that, so
Yeah. We have mixed opinions on Pirates from the younger two kids.
mhm.
It's sometimes a struggle. Sometimes it's not too bad. Everest is a big one that the two older ones really go back and forth on. They usually in the direction of not going on it.
Mhm.
Um, but every once in a while they will again. They've only been on a handful of times, but um, yeah, it's definitely sometimes we'll split off, and a couple of us go on Cali River Rapids. We'll go on Everest, and the others will go on the safari. So um, that's always an option too with when you have a bigger family that has different interests and different ages and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, that's always neat to see break off and do like individual experiences.
Mm,
We've done a little bit more of that um, lately for different reasons, and
yeah.
yeah, it's neat to see like their preferences. When I went with my son, we sat on a brick. He wanted to ride certain rides, but he didn't want to wait in the lines
Hmm.
for them, and he had the idea that they would eventually get smaller, which is possible,
Yeah.
but maybe not. So yeah, we sat on the brick wall. He laid in all different positions on the brick wall,
Hmm.
as next to the teacups, while we waited for the
Yeah.
line for Winnie the Pooh to go down. But
So he was like ready to. He was ready to wait out just right outside the ride, huh?
yeah, yeah, he was like, no, until it gets to this point, of shortness,
It's
and
pretty good.
um, but he just enjoyed hanging out on the brick wall there. So
Hey, if he
that's what we
enjoys
did.
it, yeah,
But
it's the way to
so
go.
you don't get those experiences when they're fighting over, or when they're looking at
Right.
what rides, when they feel like they need to compete to get the rides they want or join
Yeah.
forces. So that was kind of neat.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so kind of wrapping things up here, I guess. What would I normally I say 3, but you can say any number that you want,
Yeah.
1 or 5, or not. You probably don't want to do 16, but what would be some tips that you would give other Disney dads? And I think you said a few of them already, but just
Yeah.
to help, just the park experience, or any part of the experience that you have be a better experience for your family.
Yeah, I mean, and one you hear a lot, and one that I wholly agree with is set your expectations, right? So set your expectations for you and your kids. If you see your kids starting to get hot, tired, upset, hungry, take a break. Especially if some families tend to be morning people, so you get to the park early. Take a break in the afternoon, go to the resort, and take a swim or something, that kind of thing. If your family's used to sleeping in, I know you're on vacation and you probably spent a lot of money to be there, but sleep in, some of the days, and get some rest, and try to stick to your normal schedule. And it usually tends to be a better day rather than getting everybody up early to get out the door, and then everybody's tired by 2 o'clock and miserable, and you're stuck in the hot park, and only half the people want to be there, type thing. So it's really just about kind of knowing your group, and setting your expectations on what you can get done. I know there's a lot of people that are sort of they plan their Disney trips down to the minute. We never did that. We just kind of played it by ear, as far as rides and things. We'd have dining scheduled and everything, but as far as general park time goes, we'd kind of just do it as it comes, and kind of play the crowd, and kind of see what the best thing was to do in the moment. And that's a preference thing, but the big takeaway is definitely your kids, your family, just don't overdo it, because you may have spent a lot of money. You're also paid for the hotel, so go enjoy the pool. And some of the pools at Disney are amazing, and a lot of fun, and especially the kids love them. Whether you're at All Stars and Pop, or you're at Polynesian and Yacht and Beach Club, you really can't go wrong at a Disney pool. So definitely take time out to enjoy resort amenities.
Yeah, and there's definitely some ones that like are off the beaten path too. So to seek out, like there's a lot of hidden ones, like on some of the bigger resorts, like Old Key West.
Yep.
Like main pool shut down, but some of them may have like later hours or something like that. Yeah, so those are always good things to seek out.
And check with the front desk too, because for instance, at when we stayed at Polynesian, we had a 6-month-old, and it'd be kind of hard to sit at the Polynesian pool with a 6-month-old all day. But we went to a quiet pool, and they have these cabanas you could rent for $30 a day. So we just rented a cabana. We laid the infant on the big comfy couch thing in there, and we spent all day at the quiet pool at Polynesian. So definitely check stuff like that out too. Just the little rentals that you can do for the day to get yourself sort of a personal space at the pool, especially if you have real little ones. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, Ben, and being part of the Father's Day Extravaganza, and just talking some Disney daddom with me.
Sure.
We
talked always fun to do.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about, outside of here too. That's one of the reasons that I started this whole thing, is just to, I speak Disney. I'm not as good at speaking like sports and things like that.
Right.
Tends to be a language to other things that many dads have, and that's I have no problem with that. But if you ask me, I may not know anything about what you're talking about when it comes to that. But I can speak Disney, and that's a language I know other Disney dads can speak too.
Absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily have to be just about Disney, but it can be, again, in a conversation onto other topics and things like that, life topics as well. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate you joining me in that, and
Sure.
we'll wrap things up here. Do you want to tell them one more time where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at WaltDadneyWorld, just like it sounds, WaltDadneyWorld. And yeah, I'm open to DM me, send me a message, whatever. I just love to chat Disney all the time.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a later episode this week here.
yeah,
But we just started the Disney Dads Club on
hmm,
Clubhouse. So we had some chats there on Clubhouse. Great place to um, have some conversations. So I'm really interested to see how that kind of pans out and figure out a more scheduled thing. So, but I'll talk
sure.
more about that in another episode later this week as we go through some announcements on things to come here. But yeah, so again, thank you. I think, and for Dads of Adventure, you can find us again at Dads of Adventure on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Um, and then on Clubhouse, you can follow me at Dads of Adventure, but then also come join the Disney Dads group. There is a Dads of Adventure group. You're welcome to join that, but I'm not sure what we're doing with that yet. So Disney Dads is the club to join on Clubhouse. And again, dadsadventure.com. And you can find all of our YouTube videos on Dreams Magic Adventure YouTube channel and all the podcasts on your favorite podcast app under the Dad's Adventure podcast, including this episode. Um, so with that, we'll wrap up with everything how we wrap up every show and say, go have an adventure with your family. And thank you again.
Thanks, Scott.